All right.
The things I do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line. My name is Emma, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely host, Marcie.
What is?
The things we do
Oh
for
my
the
god,
show.
we're so not with it.
This show's going to be interesting because it is early in the morning for both of us, which is we never record the show this early. But we are
No.
today due to my busy schedule, unfortunately. But we're gonna, well, we do have to talk about a very lovely Leafs game. But first of all, I think we're gonna get the rest of this Morgan Rielly suspension situation story put to bed, and then hopefully, I don't know, hopefully, mostly just because I don't like talking about a episode like a story for like 3 episodes in a row. But if we do end up talking about it, it's because it's been reduced to less games. But yeah, so Toronto defense, Morgan Rielly was suspended 5 games, was what he got on Tuesday. Like it was literally like 20 minutes before puck drop too.
Yeah.
It
We
came
were
out.
just sat waiting for it.
We were just sat waiting. I think though, so the NHLPA announced that they will be reviewing we'll be appealing the suspension. And since it's less than 6, it will go directly to Gary Bettman, who, fun fact, reduced Jason Spezza's 6-game suspension to 4. So, in case you were wondering, hey, is there a chance? Because maybe Gary Bettman likes us. Maybe. Treliving won't speak to the media until the appeal is completed. Or at least maybe he just now won't speak to the media about this because after Tuesday's game, I almost said yesterday, after Tuesday's game, he did say that Treliving would speak to the media about this, which I don't know what you would say about it being like, oh yeah, Morgan Rielly, he's been suspended 5 games. This kind of sucks, but whatever. But then that has then not been going to happen until the appeal is completed, according to Leafs PR. Through the insider, the beat journalists. That's what they all said. All 7 of them all said the exact same thing. And if you had the the tweet notifications turned on for all of them, you would have gotten 7 tweets of the same thing. If the suspension stays at 5 games, Rielly will return. Is due to return for the game at the Vegas Golden Knights February 22nd. So he will go on that little road trip, and at least we will get him against Vegas. Because I know when we were talking last episode and we were saying, oh, if it's 6 games, we won't see him until Colorado. And not having him for Vegas could be unfortunate. I feel like I'm speaking in slow motion. But
so I'm just sat here, just half tuned in, half listening to the 2 alarms that one of my housemates has got going off at the moment.
Oh my god, fantastic. The one thing I will say, I don't know if you got the panel before the game on Tuesday. It was a TSN broadcast, and at least maybe, I don't know if you maybe at least saw the tweets about what Darren Dreger said on the panel before the game, which essentially implied that the news, for the first time, in a really weird way, where it was kind of broke protocol, for the Department of Player Safety. Their insiders were notified, or at least one insider was notified of the amount of games before it was released, and therefore found out before the team and the player did. But yeah, Darren Dreger's comments is where we were. I don't know if you saw those or not. At least on the aftermath on Twitter.
I saw a lot of tweets about it, and I was like, that's just
of course.
Shit.
Yeah, because I did find it weird that we were learning from Kevin Weeks. Not to say Kevin Weeks isn't a trusted source, but I was like, it was interesting. that he knew, and we still then had to wait. I think it was like 10, 15 minutes before then the like official video dropped. And like, because there was also another reporter who was like, the hearing has finished and we're just waiting for the result, which I'm like, also have never heard that before, because usually, well, also as well, like usually I never know that Department of Player Safety is like gonna do something until I see a tweet that's like, player has been fined the maximum amount among under the CBA, or player will have a hearing over the phone, and then it's like a day later, and then I get another tweet, and then it's usually like when those, it's because those Department of Player Safety tweets where I like then see what happened. I never see what happened and then see the Department of Player Safety tweets.
No. It was weird.
Except in very rare cases, but like maybe that's because like I was at the game and literally watched it with my own eyes happen in front of me on a sheet of ice, and it was like because we're like Leafs fans, we saw it, but like I don't know. I'm trying to think of.
Very interesting.
Like we like Linus Ullmark. He got fined yesterday for something, and we had to look for the video. I literally had to search up Ullmark high sticking on Twitter to find the video of what he did to get fined.
I was like, no one even said anything about it. Like,
except no, like it's not like there was someone who's a Bruins fan on Twitter that I saw that was like, oh my god, I can't believe Ullmark actually did that to a guy. I follow a Lightning fan on Twitter. Didn't see a crazy, can't believe Ullmark high sticked one of my guys in the head.
There's like the radio silence, and it's just like,
And I get it, like a fine for high sticking is not the same result as like what you would have to do to get to warrant a 5-game suspension. It is still just weird. It's just weird that we had some guy being like, the trial is now finished. We are just waiting on the verdict. And then everyone was like freaking out, being like, oh, like, where's the video? How come we don't know? Guys, you do realize that they have to then make the video. If it's a suspension, it has to come with a video. And the video requires the guy with the nicest voice I've ever heard. I don't know where the NHL found this guy. The guy who does the voiceovers for the suspension videos. Love him. It's always the same voice. It's always the same guy. It's fantastic.
You gotta
I don't know where they found him. And then they also have to do the fun little graphic at the end. That's like that's like my favorite thing. I'm so upset that they changed the graphic design from what it was in the past couple of seasons.
A crime.
I was like, that we had our like first suspension like a couple weeks into the season. I was like, I can't wait for the graphic. The video comes out. Graphic is different, and it's not as cool as the old one. The old one was cool. The old one was like, yeah, it's like a spy video. This one's like, oh, this is like what happens when like you go to like a corporate networking event and they're making a PowerPoint. I'm like, thanks, NHL. Appreciate that.
Oh, God, it is as well. Like, bring back the fun. Bring back the flair.
Bring back the whimsy. I think that's what Gary Bettman needs to add more to this league, is whimsy. This league needs more whimsy. But
we want the whimsy.
We want the whimsy. Yeah, so I don't know. Is 5 games potentially too much? Probably. If this wasn't the Leafs, I'd be saying we'd be giving this 2, and we'd be calling it end of the day, and it'd be one of those things that would get like added in at one of those like wacky like TSN top 10 montages, and you're like, didn't know this happened, but like cool that someone saw it and was like, this is important to put into a top 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like plays or misplays of the year. Like, well, that's what this is. But instead, because it's the Leafs, and like people like to think that the league revolves around the Leafs. Not really. There's just a lot of Leafs fans.
And we're all just really, really loud.
Yeah, I think also like the thing is like I didn't even, and I am still like I do see quite a bit of Senators stuff on my timeline, like when I'm on Twitter and things like that, which is where like most of the conversation revolves around these sort of things, because that's where most of the outrage is. Like my dad was like, you know what, kids should have expected it. I was like, Dad, okay, yes, but also he can't expect like a cross check to the head, but like, okay, I see where you're coming from as someone who lost 4 teeth when he was 16 playing hockey because he got a high stick to the face. So, you know,
What an icon.
but like, I don't know. I think as well, like so much of the conversation that I was seeing that was like, oh my God, Morgan Rielly should be burned at the stake was coming from non-Leaf Senators fans. And I was like, you guys, literally, I'm sorry, don't get an opinion on this, because I held myself back. I held myself back every time Jacob Trouba elbowed a guy in the head. Because I didn't say anything. It's not my place. I'm not a Rangers fan. So I'm not going to comment on Jacob Trouba. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like things like that where I'm like,
it's like this isn't about you. It's just not, is it?
Yeah.
I think like, the most annoying thing is just like the lack of consistency with it all.
And I think that's what we've been saying now for like 24 episodes.
Like, I've just got consistency. Where?
Consistency where?
Because, I think like, there is no consistency with it. And I think that's what annoys me the most. Like, yeah, losing Morgan Rielly for 5 games sucks. But I'm more annoyed about just the complete lack of consistency with suspensions like this. Where it's like that's what annoys me more than the actual suspension. It's the fact that they literally, like, at this point I'm not entirely convinced they don't just have a little spinning wheel that they throw a dart at and just like, there we go.
They roll a dice.
Yeah, they
Yahtzee.
They just close their eyes and like point.
No, they literally take a dice. They go Yahtzee. It's George Peros in an office going Yahtzee and rolling the dice across his desk and going, oh, 5 games? All right. Morgan Rielly, you've been suspended for 5 games. He probably has a gavel because he likes to think that he's all high and mighty, and bangs his desk.
His little wig.
Yeah, we judges here don't really wear wigs.
Oh,
it is literally just it's literally just Brits where your lawyers and judges wear wigs.
But why do you not want the women's
maybe
wigs?
maybe no one's okay, maybe like in the US you're like high ranking people like who are like sitting in like as like the people in like the I don't want to say Senate because I'm about to use like Canadian government terminology, but like those like that equivalent of people wear wigs, and like maybe they do it for pictures, but like no, not in like if you go to court, your lawyer's not gonna show up in a wig.
Bruh. That's so sad. That's so whimsical.
No,
little whimsy wigs.
We don't have wigs. So no, George Peros will not be wearing a wig, but he probably will bang a gavel.
My day's ruined now.
It's only 8 a.m.
I'm gonna go on my lecture. I'm just gonna sit there, just like head in hands, and people are gonna be like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Canadian lawyers don't wear wigs."
Well, then you can ruin all of their days too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like that's how it feels, and also as well, like Rielly Greig spoke to media on Tuesday after the Sens game where they won against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Because yeah, they're capable of winning against that team. Why are we? Yeah. And he said he was like, they asked him, they were like, oh, did you expect it? And he was like, well, I expected something. Just wasn't a cross check that I expected. Like, so he knows. He literally is like, that's the thing. Like, every former player or every current player, because I saw some guys talking to Braden Shen, who then the Leafs played on Tuesday.
Yeah. I was
Literally, all of them were like, PK Subban, who, okay, yeah, before you say, well, he's from Toronto. He could have grown up a Leafs fan. He very much hated the Leafs when he was with Montreal. Like, that was an adamant thing. He did not like the Leafs when he was playing against them in his playing career. Yes, he's from Toronto, but all of them were like, well, you know, good on Rielly for doing something, just what he did was too much. So that's just... Anyways, we have a game to talk about. Moving on from suspension, we have a game to talk about with the Leafs.
Sure, I can hear a man's voice.
Ooh!
There are no men that live here.
This is exciting. Actually, I'm okay. It's...
I was just out there. I was like trying to figure out. I was like, is she just have a really sore throat? Is she?
Maybe she's just watching like TV at a really loud volume, but she's just watching like House. I've been into House lately. They added it to Netflix.
Oh my god, my housemate loves House. She's got pictures of like Wilson and House on her door, and then I got her for her birthday, Dr. Gregory House t-shirt.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic.
It's the coolest fucking thing.
Oh, House is one of those shows where I'll put it on and I'll just have it playing in the background and I'll watch so many episodes of it. But Leafs and Blues.
Leafs and Blues.
Samsonov in net because Jones is still hurt day to day. He still hasn't rejoined Leafs practice, so it's been Dennis Hildeby was called up as emergency backup.
Dennis,
which we love, Dennis. Timmins out with mono, which I said as a joke on Twitter, it's embarrassing to get mono at 25. And then I had people arguing that no, it's not, because you could get it from barware, like dirty barware. Because if someone has mono drinks from a glass and then it's not washed properly and then you drink from the glass, you could get mono. Scary, but also have you considered that the only person I've ever known to get mono has been high school students? So, and also mono, which, by the way, I was explaining this to Simon last night because it was Valentine's Day and we were out for dinner. Confused it with polio, and he's gonna get so mad at me that I've put him on blast like this. But I thought that was the funniest thing, because he was like, isn't that the really old disease? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's mono. Like, a guy in high school I knew got mono. And he's like, oh, I was confusing it with polio. I was like, that's not the same thing.
Oh, Simon.
Polio is what people were getting from swimming pools in the 1920s and 30s. We have a vaccine for that.
Guys, this just in, Connor Timmins apparently has polio. Surprise! Oh, Simon.
But also as well, Marner and Tavares sick with flu-like, because that had to be... Sheldon Keefe post-game was asked, are Marner and Tavares, do they also have mono? Because it's really, really bad if two of our top four forwards, I should say, have mono, because I knew a guy in high school who got mono, who, by the way, is an athlete because he was on the swim team, so he's like a pretty athletic guy. We didn't see him in class for 3 weeks. He was so sick. And then and this was also like school. Like, it's not like he's like showing up and like playing hockey. This is him straight up just not coming to school. And then he showed up for a week, and then the symptoms came back, and then he didn't show up for another 2 weeks.
Shit.
Because mono is like one of those things where it's like it kind of stays with you for so long, like all of the symptoms and everything. Like, even if you're not contagious, you just feel like crap. So imagine if Marner and Tavares are out, and Keefe literally had to clarify, no, not our guys do not have mono. Our guys are not giving each other mono.
Oh, only the Leafs.
Only the Leafs. But yeah, because Marner and Tavares were sick and didn't play, Alex Steeves was called up as an emergency call-up, which he's having a great season with the Marlies. 38 points in 38 games. 18 of those being goals. And Bobby McMahon found out he was playing when he showed up to the rink. Because Mitch Marner, he was going to be a healthy scratch. And then I guess Tavares was like, boss, I can't come in today. I'm sick. I feel like John Tavares would call Sheldon Keefe boss. And then Mitch Marner apparently showed up to the rink. And they showed him on the broadcast leaving the arena. He looked ill.
Oh.
He looked ill. He didn't look too hot. You could also tell just by what he was wearing. It was like the world's most boring gray suit. And I was like, oh.
When he's not got that stupid spiky trainers on, that's how you know it's bad.
I think he was wearing those matching dunks that he has with Matthews.
That doesn't surprise me at
But yeah.
all.
So that's why, like, if you look at the Leafs roster, they currently have 24 players because Hildeby is up as on emergency backup, and so is Alex Steeves. So allows them to be over the cap and whatever. So that means our lines, man. When that like NHL PR thing came out, where it was like, you know, Marner and Tavares aren't playing, Hildeby's been called. I was like, what are our lines? I was like, very much Joseph Woll post Ryan O'Reilly trade.
What happened to our lines?
What happened to our lines? So I'm gonna read them out because I know we were reading out a lineup last season from 2021, 2022. And this is same sort of vibe, where our lines were Nyes, Matthew, Nylander, Bertuzzi, Domi, Robertson, McMahon, Kampf, Gregor, Steeves, Holmberg, Reeves. Our defensive pairings were Brody, Liljegren, Benoit McCabe, Giordano, and Lagesson. Which, like, okay, it doesn't look that crazy, but literally what it is, it's like, you know, our fourth line is now our third line, which is horrifying considering how bad our fourth line can sometimes be. As much as we love our fourth line guys, McMahon, Kampf, and Gregor being your third line in a normal situation causes for panic. After the game, I love that third line. Can we play that third line every night?
Can we keep them, Sheldon, please?
But yeah, so obviously the biggest story of the game, I feel like, besides all these guys being out sick, is Bobby McMahon scored a hat trick.
Oh my, he did it.
Noted bottom line Blorbo, Bobby McMahon scored a hat trick. We love Bobby McMahon.
I did have a little cry. Tears did happen.
He more than doubled his NHL career goal total.
Oh, look at him go.
He had 2 goals going into Tuesday's game. He came out with 5.
Oh, Bobby.
And they were all good goals. Like, okay, you could say one of them was an empty net. It was still like a skillfully scored empty net. He banked it off the boards and it was dead center. Like, it wasn't like he took a shot. He didn't take a slap shot from 5 feet away.
Oh my god, I can't remember who, but I saw someone say should have done a Michigan.
David Kampf. I think at one point David Kampf was thinking about attempting another Michigan. And I was like, if that's where we are, where the Leafs, sick, they're without Morgan Rielly, and you have David Kampf attempting the Michigan. Oh, again.
What a situation. But oh my god.
Remember when he did it for the first time last year? I was like, is that how he got the 2.5? Is he was just like, I may have missed here.
Watch this.
Hey, Brad. Let me show you my highlight reel. And it's just that Michigan attempt for 2 minutes.
Oh my god. It was just
And then Red Trilliving's like 2.5, 4 years.
funk.
Boom.
Oh, but
But he like won battles along the board. Like they were all great goals.
they were such good goals.
Bobby McMahon from Wainwright, Alberta, which by the way is a small town in Alberta that has produced not one, not two, but 3 NHLers.
Go Wainwright. My favorite place on the planet.
It's produced Bobby McMahon. It has produced Jacob Middleton from the Minnesota Wild, and it also is where Mason Shaw, who's currently playing for the Iowa Wild because he's coming back from ACL surgery, but was in the Minnesota Wild lineup before his injury. Mason Shaw. So yeah. Isn't that like kind of crazy? It literally, hold on.
I remember when we Googled this. We had a little Bobby McMahon deep dive.
Yeah, we did. It's about 200 kilometers southeast of Edmonton. And it has a population of 6,600 people. And it has produced 3 current, I would say, because I think Mason Shaw is going to get back in with the Wild lineup. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's just coming back from like an absolutely brutal injury. Anytime with your knee as a hockey player, and especially ACL, like ouch. That's ouch. But yeah, he'll come back. But like produce 3 NHLers from the same sort of age too. Crazy.
Insane.
Crazy. But yeah. Also Bobby McMahon, theater minor. I loved how then everyone was finding out all these facts about Bobby McMahon, where it was like, we knew.
We knew.
We knew.
Never done that.
If there's anything we'll do here at From the Fourth Line is research our fourth line players.
Oh yes.
Yeah, noted theater. He did a theater minor in college, which is great. I love that. He would have loved last season's Blue and White Gala, where they were reenacting scenes from rom-coms.
That would have been for everything, absolutely everything.
He would have done so well too.
Gold star for Bobby McMahon.
He also too is, I don't know where this picture. We have to find this picture somehow. I don't know how we're gonna find it. We'll find it somehow, of the fact that on the dad's trip, I think it was the dad's trip, Bobby McMahon still uses his college backpack, like his college athletics backpack, the one that they give to all the student athletes on road trips. Someone needs to buy this guy a backpack. I love it. We love like eco-friendly kid who's like, backpack still works, I'm still gonna use it. But I do wonder if he gets chirped for using his college backpack.
I mean, yeah.
Like,
but like
those Adidas backpacks are really nice backpacks though.
It's so cute.
It's really cute.
We do need to find that picture.
Yeah, we do. We'll discover. We'll go back through our archives. I think we have it somewhere between the two of us.
I've just so many photos.
We definitely. I feel like we also then definitely like sent it to each other as well.
No, I was searching. I was like having a search, and I was like, "Where is it?
Where is it?" It definitely was a dad's trip thing that we found. I know we like also know exactly what day it is. Like that's the thing. It's like we know where this picture is from. I just am like trying to remember if it was like posted to like at least Instagram story or not, because if it was, then and we don't have it, we're gonna be hard pressed to find it, but we'll find it and we'll tweet it out. But Nylander also had a goal as well, and then Blues got 1 to allow so that the final score of the game was 4-1. But I think as well it was a solid defensive performance all game from this team without Morgan Rielly. Only let the Blues get 15 shots, which is the first time in 8 years they've only allowed 15 or less shots, which is crazy. That's crazy. Insane. 8 years ago is 2016.
I don't like that.
Which also as well, like, think about how bad the team was before 2016. Like, 2016, we were trying to get a first round pick in 2016.
Oh my god.
2016, we did not have Auston Matthews on this team. I think, like, best overall defensive performance.
By a mile. It's like I didn't want to like explode any defenseman with my laser eyes for like the entire game.
The back check wasn't painful to watch.
No, I was happy with how we played, considering the situation we were in.
Also, so like Bertuzzi had some good chances. This guy's so unlucky, man. Like, he's so unlucky. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, that like left wing role for the Leafs. Man, what goes on there? Who cursed? Who cursed that?
I want to know which
which former Leaf
astrology girl he pissed off.
I want to know how mad Michael Bunting got when he left that he decided just to curse the entire left wing position for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, it was like, oh, if I can't score on the left with the left wing animore, no one.
They cursed it like it's like cursed like the professor of dark arts in Harry Potter. No one. If I can't get the job, no one can get the job.
And you know what? I love that for him.
I think as well, Domi looked better when given more minutes. I think, like, if you give him more minutes in a game, he looks better than if you have him. He was playing more minutes. He was playing second line minutes. I think the whole team just played more minutes as well because you didn't have I think also especially because like Marner's your guy on your penalty kill and your power play, right? And to not have him out there, you're having to then rely on other guys to fill a slot. He's a very two-way player. Tavares, like, there's a power play guy you have to fill up as well. I don't even want to talk about what the Leafs power play looked like. It was something else.
It happened.
Look, it happened. That's all right. Also as well, this is from Luke Fox. 7 Leafs in that game's lineup were not playing opening night. Which, incredible reliability on the depth that this team has. Also as well, like, we can't discredit that it was a strong showing by Samsonov. He had a good game.
Oh, he had a really good game.
Would I have liked him to not allow that one goal?
I'm just choosing to pretend it never happened.
Doesn't matter. They won the game anyways. It's fine.
Yeah.
I also I do want to say I just want to see Steve's more. You know what I mean? That game, he didn't have a great game. He had an okay game. For being emergency call up.
Good for him.
I think he did.
I want to see him more.
I just want to see him more. I think, you know what I mean? I don't want to let that one game be what defines him this season in the NHL. Definitely it's something where it's, it's actually a little bit reassuring that, you can call up a guy from your minor affiliate to fill in a slot last minute and have it not be a total dumpster fire.
Yeah. It's oh my god, also.
Oh, Toronto Marlies, love that. Love the Toronto Marlies sweater. That looks actually really nice.
My little blowers.
But yeah, obviously also as well, Bobby McMann, belt, play of the game.
Oh.
So he got the belt of the game. That blueprint, that was great. It was Cabe giving it, who was going to act like he was gonna give it to Benoit, which the two of them, underrated friendship.
I love them.
Those two little D partners.
Look at them go.
But also, that's the thing about this team is Max Doby's Instagram story. They all love, but they were all like, yeah, our fourth line guy, like our emotional fourth line, Bobby McMahon. Auston Matthews was posting about, like, was like on his Instagram story posting about it, but like Max Domi had probably the best Leaf selfie of all Leaf selfie.
I will never recover.
This is, I think we need this. I think this is why we need Max Domi to stick around, because this guy loves the Leafs. He grew up grew up within the Leafs locker room as well, with his dad playing for the Leafs for so long, and like Ty was like a fan favorite for sure. But like he is just, I think as well, like you saw it in the outdoor practice, like he was posting stuff, and I think it's so great that we have a guy who's doing that, who's like, yeah, look at how much fun we're having. But like that selfie was great. It was him, Bobby McMahon, Noah Gregor, Matthew Nyes post game. Like it was just
You're gonna be crying.
It was great. It was so fun.
It was so sweet.
Oh my god, it was so sweet. Now cutting to Wednesday's practice, Valentine's Day. Nylander not at Wednesday practice, who's also out sick with the same thing that Tavares and Marner were out with. Sheldon Keefe said that they will reevaluate the team today to see if they will play tonight against Philadelphia. If we are without Nylander, Tavares, and Marner against Philadelphia, you might as well just like clock in the Jamie Drysdale goals now. Even though I don't care. I don't care. He's I don't care. Say what you will about him being a defenseman. Who else is from Ontario? Travis Konechny, goals. Like let's look at the Flyers lineup of like any guy who's like from Toronto or from from just Ontario in general. Clock in the goals. Clock them in.
Are we gonna get a Jamie Drysdale hat trick? Yeah.
Tyson Forster, Alliston, Ontario. Clock it. Morgan Frost, Aurora, Ontario. Clock it. Scott Lawton, Oakville. Clock it. Owen Tippett, Peterborough. Close enough. It's Ontario. Ryan Ellis. Oh, he's from Hamilton. Okay. Sean Walker, Keswick. Okay. Like, I don't think we have any former Leafs, so we don't have to worry about that.
But
unless
still.
I'm like totally wrong. But like no, there's no like former Leafs or anything. But yeah, like I will like I don't know. I feel it in my like bones though that there's gonna be a JB Drysdale goal. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I can't be mad about it because I want Jamie Drysdale to do well.
Yeah, but like also like if we're without like, anyways, I just I hope they are feeling better. I don't know what it is. I don't know because they're like this is like the third time this season we've talked about like there be like a bug that goes through the Leafs locker room.
She's like, I'm hoping it's just like similar
a 24-hour thing.
Yeah, like what I had on Tuesday because if I sound a bit ill, it's because I am. I was like a little plague victim on Tuesday. Jesus.
Oh, I know. So, I was getting all like the Snapchat videos that were just like you like, Emma, I'm dying. I don't think I can go on anymore.
I was a bit dramatic. A little bitch. But yeah, I'm hoping it's just a 24-hour sort of thing.
Yeah, but we were down so many forwards being sick that Morgan Rielly was filling in, taking top line rushes.
Morgan Rielly, I hope you like being a forward.
He also can't play because he's suspended.
Yay!
Yeah, which is like but with Tavares and Marner being out last game, it is important to mention Nylander got an A on Tuesday for the game, which is something he usually only gets during the preseason, but it is really nice to see him get the A. Like he was. That's the thing. It's like there was a game late last year, or at least after the trade deadline last season, where some people weren't there. I don't remember what the situation was where we were like down enough guys from that leadership group that then they needed an A for someone, and they were like offering it to Ryan O'Reilly and then they were offering it to Alex Kerfoot. And I'm like, why is Alex Kerfoot on your list above William Nylander? But it is nice to see, like, we do know that he's actively trying to take a bigger leadership role within this team. And it's nice to see that, like, he's being rewarded for his efforts. Even if it is here's an A because 2 guys are out.
Everyone's dead.
But yeah, I do hope it's like some 24-hour thing, and we'll have Marner and Tavares back for tonight's game because kind of need them.
Yeah.
But Samsonov was working alone. Also on practice on Wednesday, Samsonov was working alone on a separate sheet, which means the practice goalies were Joseph Woll and Dennis Hildeby. A glimpse into Leafs goaltending future with that one for sure.
I've said it before, and I've said it again. Joseph Woll and Dennis Hildeby are going to win the Stanley Cup with the Leafs. You can quote me on this when it happens. I told you.
We'll go back.
I said it.
We'll play this then when it happens.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Also, Wool was back doing media as well. He's back on, which is great, which is just like one step closer to him being back from injury. We've missed him. He was cracking jokes and laughing and winking at the reporters the whole time. He's putting on his modern charms.
No, the worst thing is I have 2 tabs open right now. I have this Teams meeting and yesterday's media that is already paused halfway through Joseph Woll's little return because I was watching it before the call.
Well, I was trying to make myself feel like I could have coherent thoughts. Also as well, like, it's so great to see him back. Sheldon Keefe did say that they're starting to now map out a timeline for his return. Hopefully that's a very short timeline where it's like, you're back on Monday, buddy. Let's go. But he did go into further detail about like how he thinks he got his injury, where it was like he was in an awkward position, he leaned into the awkward position, and in his fine words, my ankle just didn't want to. Eloquent as always, Joseph.
Oh, I love it.
Way to put that college degree, those college credits to good use.
I genuinely don't think I'm ever going to recover from the 5-minute period of waking up from my nap, going to switch off my alarm, and just seeing like a billion messages from you, the YouTube notification, tweets coming out, and I was just like, what?
No, that's the thing where it's like I DM'd you as if someone had gotten traded. Like, it was like you would have thought that, like.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to go actually check what you said because. Oh yeah, you did.
That's up on my Twitter if those people actually want to read it. I tweeted that out too as well, where I was like, by the way, that you would have thought someone
got
traded. Yeah, it's like
yeah, but he's back.
He's back. Yeah. Also as well, news. This came out like halfway through the game. I was like, okay, someone's been busy. Is Yarncrow was placed on LTIR, being moved from IR for a fractured knuckle. Because I was like, is this retroactive? The tweet from Cat Friendly didn't say. I looked on Cat Friendly. I like went onto the Leafs Cat Friendly page. It seems to be retroactive. Like, it's like it's weird where it's like it's not at the top of like their injuries page, but he is on LTR. Like, it doesn't say if it's retro. I hope it's retroactive, because if it's retroactive, then it just means like less games he has, like, because you have to sit out a certain number of games if you get placed on LTR. If it is retroactive, then like he can return sooner. and you don't have to wait as many games if he is ready to come back. But we need you, Callahan Croak. He's so versatile. Like, that's the thing where it's like, you probably could get away with like a couple other guys on his level in the line, but he's just so versatile. That
it's a tough loss.
To lose him is a big loss for this team, and you definitely, that was like one of the things that you could notice against Ottawa was not, well, I guess also New York too, like Dallas, because Dallas they sort of compensate, but like game against New York, game against Ottawa, I think they made it work against St. Louis because I think just the defensive performance was so strong, but it was like definitely Ottawa for sure. You were like, oh, you miss Callahan Croak out there on the ice. Also a fun fact that we learned via Jonas Siegel, the Leafs have 5 goalie stalls at their practice facility, and those belong to Samsonov, no surprise, Woll, no surprise, Jones, no surprise, Hildeby, no surprise, and Matt Murray. Which got a lot of people all like, oh, wow, Matt Murray. But, like, also at the same time, I also feel like there's no surprise there because we do know that he's been at least working out, like, in the weight room and stuff. So I think then in your practice facility, it's nice to just, give the guy who's there working out a stall, especially it's like for Performance Center, you have the room. It's not like there's, like, 5 goalie stalls in the Leafs, like, official dressing room. Also, they would not have the space in there for 5 goalie stalls. I've mapped it out. There's not enough room.
You've done the research.
I've done the research.
No, Sheldon Keefe is so me because I am telling myself that he's just like preparing an entire starting lineup of goalies. And one day he's gonna forget blending the lines, he's blowing them up. And it's like it's gonna pan to the ice for the anthem, and we're just gonna be like, goalie, 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 goalie. Since when was Joseph Woll a forward?
Dennis Hildeby, get ready to play defense. He's 6'7", they're putting him on defense.
Joseph Woll hat trick incoming.
Dennis Hildeby is Owen Power. By the way, is out injured right now, week to week. But they haven't said what it is. Yeah, Cal's very upset about it. It's unfortunate for the to lose him week to week for sure. Also, okay, the news I've been so excited to talk about.
I have one note for this, and it's just Emma's prayers have been answered.
I've been saying, I actually was so hopeful that someone would sign Phil Kessel to the point that when we were drafting our fantasy teams, I drafted Phil Kessel. I had to drop him when the season started because I needed a forward who was actually going to give me points. Because it's not like a goalie situation where it's like sometimes just having a guy who's a solid like 0 every night is kind of what you want. Like, it's helpful. But like, I needed a forward who was going to give me points or I was going to have no chance. Which, by the way, I'm winning by a landslide this week. It's great. Phil Kessel, it was announced. Well, actually, he was spotted at the Vancouver airport, which is the craziest thing. Like, I can't imagine just like being in the Vancouver airport and seeing like Phil Kessel there. I mean, like, Phil Kessel. Like, oh. Phil. But and then also then because of that, like then Patrick Alvin had to then put out a statement and was like, yeah, it is that was Phil Kessel you saw at the Vancouver airport. Because it was announced that 3-time Stanley Cup champion Phil Kessel, also noted enjoyer of hot dogs and Coke in the locker room. Drinking Coke in the locker room. With hockey, with hockey player, there's you got to specify which one.
Yeah,
is skating in Abbotsford for the purpose of potentially signing with the Vancouver Canucks. So the timeline they said is very short, but they will, take a look at him and then like have him sign before the deadline. I think, you know what, if he looks good, he could add value to Vancouver and it being a low risk, low cost, like The 36-year-old scored 14 goals, 22 assists in 82 games with the Vegas Golden Knights last year. Helped them win a Stanley Cup. Still in possession of the longest Ironman streak, which is also still active as well. I don't know how that works. I guess if he's not signed, it's still active because he's not on a contract. Like, because in my head, I'm like, surely the active part must be gone because he's missed games this season. But I guess if it's like, it works because he's signed with it. Anyway, I'm not complaining. I love Phil Kessel. He's also 8 points away from 1,000. Someone sign him. Please don't be like Jason Spezza, who I'm pretty sure is like 2 points shy or something ridiculous.
Please.
But yeah, I love Phil Kessel. For those who for the uninitiated, Phil Kessel was like my favorite Leafs when I was growing up, like in that era of like Dion Phaneuf, Phil Kessel, like the early days as well, like when it was like Nazem Kadri, Lupul was with the team. Oh my God, who else was that? Like, man, I loved Phil Kessel, and it was mostly based on the fact that like a guy I was still always a Leafs fan, but like a guy I had a crush on in like elementary school was a big like Phaneuf fan, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a Phil Kessel fan just to impress.
Oh.
And here I am.
I love Anna Law sometimes. I really do.
Here I am. I don't know if it was like because like elementary school me was gonna try and like pull some like smooth lines of like we go together like Kessel and Phaneuf because we're like the leadership group at the time. You and I, we can be great teammates. Like, I don't know what I was thinking where I was like, no, I'm not going to pick the same Leafs player as him to be my favorite. I'm just going to pick the guy who's like his A. I'm just going to pick Dion Phaneuf's A to be my favorite player. Also, Phil Kessel is such a lovable guy. Like, he's just so great. My favorite thing about him is that every guy who's ever played with him has a good Phil Kessel story. And can also do a really good impression. One of the really impressive impressions of him, Jack Eichel, has a great one. He has a great one.
It is beautiful.
It's also a great story that goes along with it as well. But yeah, very excited to see what if Phil Kessel will sign with Vancouver. I think for sure, you know. Anyways, please, for me. Do it for me. I love Phil Kessel. Also as well, some announcement. Philadelphia Flyers announced a captain yesterday. The timing of it was weird. I was like, what is going on, man? But they announced that Sean Couturier will be the 20th captain in franchise history. I had to ask Flyers friend of ours what it meant, because I don't really follow the Flyers, as people who found out when I found out this week from a tweet that Travis Konechny has not one, but 2 children.
2 children.
I didn't know that. And then I got one of those like, no hate on OP, but here's like Travis Konechny's children. I was like, sorry, I'm not a Flyers fan.
That was I saw that tweet and I was like, not Emma getting the no hit on OP treatment.
No, but in case you didn't know, I was like, sorry, like I don't. Anyways, but I did ask. So Sean Couturier is the longest serving Flyer currently on the team. And the one note that our current, like our Flyers fan friend added, they said that it's interesting to wait this long post Giroux trade if you were going to always name him as captain. You know what I mean? Like, because if he was there the whole time, why not do it right away? I think it's more just to see if like someone else in the room, you know, shows themselves to fulfill those roles. You know what I mean? Like, John Tavares didn't get his C right away either when he signed here.
Yeah.
So you could, right? But it also means Travis Konechny will receive an A as well to fill in that missing slot on their leadership group, and then Scott Laughton will keep his as well. So there's your official finalized Philadelphia Flyers leadership group, and I think it's a pretty good one actually. From the very little I know about the Philadelphia Flyers, I've heard it's a good one. Look, I am so not a Flyers fan. Like, okay, not that because like just because I'm not a fan doesn't mean I hate them, but also at the same time I'm so not always consuming content from them that's why I didn't know Travis Konechny had not one but two children, because how was I supposed to know if all I see from them is like the box score and like a couple of highlights and like maybe like a little like social media like goofy video where it's them like stacking like chicken buckets on top of each other? How am I supposed to know that Travis Konechny has not one but two whole children? I'm not looking at the guy's Wikipedia page. And people were like, how did you not know? And I'm like, because I don't follow the Flyers. I follow two NHL players on Instagram. Joseph Wool, obviously, and Zach Aston Reese, who I do it for the dog content. Okay?
Carl and Lola.
I do it for Carl and Lola. That's who I follow. I do it for them.
And as you should.
I don't follow any other hockey players on Instagram. I really don't.
I follow so many that I need to go through again and just get rid of half of them.
It is great though, because you usually are like, hey, look at this cute thing. And I was like, oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, I just sent it to you and I'm like, oh my god, look at this. And you're just like, oh. It's either that or something just completely devastating that ruins our lives.
Yeah.
You never know with me.
You never know. But yeah, this is kind of a shorter one, but that's because we had one game to cover and then no one was going to get suspended. That suspension already happened. And
it's really early.
Yeah, it is also really early. And I want to go back to bed. For the Leafs, for the look ahead for their next couple of games, they play Philadelphia tonight, Anaheim on Saturday for Hockey Night in Canada. That'll be a fun game. Mostly just because last time Leafs played Anaheim, it was ridiculous. It was like Leafs could not score until they did, and
it was painful.
And then they play St. Louis for the afternoon Family Day, / President's Day, but Canadian, so we're gonna call it Family Day. In St. Louis. Fingers crossed Joseph Wool is back. If he is, it will be the best day of my life.
I genuinely don't know what I'm gonna do if he's not.
I'm gonna be devastated.
Like, at what point do I just deactivate my Twitter account and like remove my existence from the internet and like just move to a cave somewhere in the mountains?
Yeah.
And just hope that he ends up hiking past one day.
Confusing, like, been like, ooh, what's in this cave?
And I'm like, finally, my trap.
You've fallen for my trap.
And I'm still just like completely like 80 years old, aged.
So it's old man Joseph Wool. Because he's older than
old man Joseph Wool goes missing.
Oh my god. But yeah, and then then we'll be back. We'll probably be back Tuesday. I think we'll do it. I have a long drive on Monday that I don't know when I'll return from. So expect not that much hopefully not much changes, but yeah, we're closing in on the trade deadline. So we'll see. I don't know. People are like, oh, it's going to be a quiet trade deadline. Who knows? Like, we didn't acquire
explosive.
We didn't acquire like Ryan O'Reilly until like this weekend. I think. Or it was like, I was on vacation, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, I think, solid episode from us.
Yeah.
We always pat ourselves on the back at the end of these before we sign off.
Done. Gold star for us.
Gold star for us. Look at all the hard work we did. We talked for an hour.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, we're losing it. We gotta end it now. End it now. Thank you
Before we
guys.
say something,
We were
batshit.
yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow the show on Twitter at From the Fourth Line. That's 4 with the number 4. You can follow me and Marcie on Twitter at 60 Leafs for Marcie, at PRB1 for myself. I'm gonna go back to bed and then go to work. Thank you guys so much for listening. Go Leafs, go. We will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.